Start the day's other headlines in Chicago. A judge says federal immigration officers operating there will be required to wear body cameras. District Court Judge Sarah Ellis said today she was a little startled by clashes like these between ICE agents and protesters from earlier this week. Tensions are running high. Federal officials say they've arrested more than 1,000 immigrants there since September, and the Trump administration is trying to send in the National Guard. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker warned President Trump that Illinois, in his words, is not a place you can conquer, and lashed out against the federal forces on the ground.
Masked federal agents from ICE and CBP are on the ground terrorizing our communities with tear gas and rubber bullets. And some are wearing camouflage uniforms that could easily be mistaken for the military.
In response to the judge's order, an attorney for the Justice Department blamed the anger over the unrest in Chicago on, quote, one-sided and selectively edited media reports. He added that it's not possible to get body cameras for ICE agents right away. President Trump says he'll meet with Russia's Vladimir Putin in Budapest to discuss ways to end the war in Ukraine, though he did not say when. Mr. Trump announced the plan on social media following a 2-hour call between the two leaders that he described as very productive. But first, President Trump will host Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky at the White House tomorrow. Zelensky is pushing the president to sell Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine, which would enable Kyiv to strike deep into Russia. Meantime, Ukraine's energy operator announced nationwide power cuts today after Russia launched a massive drone and missile strike overnight. On Capitol Hill today, the Senate failed to pass a measure to reopen the government for a 10th time. And in a separate vote, lawmakers also voted down an effort to fund the Defense Department for 1 year. Senate Majority Leader John Thune railed against Democrats on the Senate floor afterwards.
This is politics. If anything was needed to demonstrate just how fundamentally uninterested Democrats are in supporting our troops and defending our country, just take a look at this vote.
The 50-44 vote marked the first attempt to restart partial funding, even as the stalemate continues over reopening the government as a whole. The Senate stands adjourned until next Monday, ensuring that the shutdown will stretch into next week. President Trump announced a deal today with drug maker EMD Serono to cut the cost of a common fertility medication related to in vitro fertilization treatments, or IVF.
The initiatives I've just announced are the boldest and most significant actions ever taken by any president to bring the miracle of life into more American homes. And I will say, Katie,
the president also announced guidance that would encourage employers to offer fertility coverage separate from their regular medical insurance, much like dental and vision plans. It's unclear whether employers will indeed choose to offer that coverage and whether the deal announced today will result in cheaper IVF treatments. A number of states are showing progress in the nation's battle against obesity. That's according to an analysis of CDC data by the nonpartisan group Trust for America's Health. Last year, 19 states reported adult obesity rates of 35% or higher. That's down from 23 states the year before, and it's the first such decline in more than a decade. But nationwide, rates remain high, with roughly 4 in 10 American adults considered obese. Nestle is slashing 16,000 jobs as part of its broader cost-cutting efforts. The maker of Nescafe, Kit Kats, and other brands said today that the cuts will take place over the next 2 years as it battles rising costs and President Trump's tariffs. Meantime, stocks struggled on Wall Street today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average lost around 300 points. The Nasdaq gave back just over 100 points. The S&P 500 also ended in negative territory. And the final surviving member of the team that conquered Mount Everest has died. Kantha Sherpa was part of the 1953 expedition that saw Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay reach the top of the world's highest peak. Kantha was born in 1933 in the foothills of Everest and started his mountaineering career when he was just 19. He joined many Everest climbs over the years, but never reached the summit himself. In his later years, he warned against overcrowding on Everest and urged people to respect the famous mountain. Kantha Sherpa was 92 years old. And NPR's Susan Stamberg has died. As an original staff member, Stamberg, along with Linda Wertheimer, Nina Totenberg, and the late Cokie Roberts, was considered one of the founding mothers of NPR. From humble tasks like cutting tape, Stamberg rose quickly to become co-host of All Things Considered in 1972. She was known for making connections with listeners, famously sharing her mother-in-law's recipe for cranberry sauce, or cranberry relish, as she called it. Stamberg spoke with NewsHour for NPR's 50th anniversary and told us about the opportunities and challenges of those early days.
NPR was a startup, so there weren't 1,000 people ahead of you in the job you were dying to get. That makes it tough for anybody, men or women, but particularly difficult for a woman.
A trailblazer, an icon, a generous soul, Susan Stamberg's voice shaped public radio and inspired generations of journalists and storytellers to find their own voices. She only retired from NPR last month. Susan Stamberg was 87 years old. Still to come on the NewsHour, a young Republican's hateful and violent group chat sparks bipartisan condemnation, but also dismissal from the White House. Hundreds are rescued from remote villages in Alaska after a devastating typhoon. And we look at why domestic violence is on the rise in states with abortion bans.
This is the PBS NewsHour from the David M. Rubenstein Studio at WETA in Washington, and in the West from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism at Arizona State University.